Hi guys, welcome to this new video. Today I need to do a bit of a cleanup on my balcony and to reorganize some stuff. And I thought that would be a good opportunity for me to also show you how I organize my balcony garden and how I store everything here. Because that's a question that do get asked sometimes, like where do you store your soil bags, or what do you do with extra pots that you are not using at the moment? Where do you keep your tools? Where do you keep your fertilizers? So I'm gonna show you all of that in today's video. And I actually bought myself a couple of new items that I'm gonna be using for storage. And you know, even though my balcony is very long, it's also pretty narrow. So I don't want to clutter the space, and I also don't want those storage units or storage solutions to look out of place among all of these plants. So I rely on small space storage solutions, and I think that what I use on my balcony could also potentially work on yours. So maybe first let me show you how I store my tools, my accessories on all of those smaller items, and then I'm gonna show you everything else. Okay, so I'm first gonna clean the table so that I can show you, but look at this, my little composition is blooming finally. I absolutely love it. That ivy arch is now looking really full, and we have some crocus Jeanne d'Arc blooming under, and then there will be some irises as well later on. Okay, so here are all of my garden tools, smaller tools and garden accessories. I actually shared a video recently where I spoke about my all-time favorite plant and garden tools and accessories that I use all the time in my balcony garden. So here are some of those items, and something that I also wanted to mention is that I live in a small apartment and I don't have a lot of storage solutions indoors either. So everything that I use for my balcony or on my balcony stays on the balcony. I don't bring any garden related items indoors. Everything that I have for this balcony garden stays here. So up until now I stored all of this in an empty plastic pot, and as long as it works, I think it's time for me to upgrade my storage solutions a little bit. So I bought myself a really cute toolbox. So it's a metal toolbox, and I think that's a really cute solution because especially when your garden or your balcony garden is very small and you don't have a lot of space to hide your storage boxes or storage bins, I think that investing in a cute box like this is a really great option, because then you don't even need to hide it. Like, you could just place it anywhere in your garden and it wouldn't look bad. It's actually pretty aesthetically pleasing. So it's a metal toolbox, and it's actually pretty spacious. You can fit a lot of things inside. So there's this little division, and as I said, it's pretty spacious and you can fit a whole lot of things. I'm pretty sure I can fit all of my items in this one box. I bought it online from Hema. Hema is a shop that's available in several European countries, but I think that even if it's not available in your country, you can find something similar somewhere online as well. So I put all of the items that I don't use very often at the bottom, and then I'm gonna place this little thing here and place all the items that I use frequently on top. Okay, so now time for a couple of those larger items like my spray bottle, broom, kneeling pad, watering hose, my bag with horticultural fleece, gloves, and my pruning saw. Although now that I think about this, these two should definitely go in my toolbox, they can fit in there. So I found a really cool storage solution for all of those larger items, a storage solution that doesn't take up a lot of space and can double as something else other than storage. So let me show you. So here it is, my new storage box. I just put it together. It was super easy, it took me 5 minutes, but I love it because it's large enough to fit all of the things that I need to fit in it. Like, I could easily place a soil bag inside. I could fit all of those tools and all of those accessories I just showed you. I could even fit that metal toolbox inside if I really wanted to hide it. But at the same time, it's still small enough where, as you can see, it doesn't take up too much floor space. Like, I can fit it on top of my table, and my table is pretty small. And the best part is that if you really have a limited space, this could double as a table. Like, you could easily just place it on the floor next to your bench or next to your small sitting area. This could double as a little coffee table. This could double as a sitting area as well. Like, you can place a cushion on top of it and use it as a chair. And for me, it will also double as a plant stand. So my box is gonna go in this corner, in this part of the balcony. I usually keep all of the stuff that I want, to be out of sight. So usually I would just store all of my tools here. I had a little plant stand before with my blueberry, and under I placed an empty pot, and in that empty pot I would store all of my stuff. So for me, that's this corner has always been the storage corner. So now I just need to clean it up a little bit, make space for that new storage box, and then I'm gonna show you how it looks at the end. Okay, so here is how it looks. As you can see, I could fit absolutely everything except for my spray bottle, because the spray bottle I still use it indoors for my seedlings. But I could use I could fit a smaller soil bag, some extra bag of perlite, kneeling pad, and all of the other items that I just showed you before, and I still have plenty of space for other stuff. So before that, I used to store my stuff in here. I have a little nook in here, as you can see, between the wall and that large concrete pot. And I will place just a plastic box in here and put just all of my stuff in here. And this is also where I store all of my plant stakes. They're all behind there. So it's nice to have a more aesthetic solution and a place where I can really put everything, and it's just easily available for me. Like I can just lift the lid and access everything that I need. Okay, so this is how it looks for now. This area in all cases is gonna change a little bit during summer. I have some plans for this area, but for now, as you can see, it's in the corner. It's barely visible because it's pale enough to match kind of the color of the walls, and I placed my blueberry bush on top of it. Some people may say that it's not very convenient because then each time I want to access this box I will have to take the blueberry pot down, but it doesn't bother me really. Okay, and just a couple more words that I wanted to add about storing soil. So as I mentioned before, I would store a bag or two of soil back there in that little corner, that little gap between the wall and the pot. Now I can store a bag of soil here with some extra bag of perlite, extra bag of vermiculite and stuff like that. So it fits all in this box, which is great. But that being said, I don't buy a lot of soil ahead of time because I know I won't have the space to store it. So for example, when I know that I have some larger projects coming up, for example, when I will be changing these railing pots for summer, I know I'm gonna need like 4 bags of soil. So then just before I do this project, I go and buy those 4 bags of soil. I don't buy them 2-3 months ahead because I know I won't have the possibility to store them. So I have just maybe 1 or 2 bags maximum of soil just laying around somewhere on the balcony for those smaller projects that you do, on a daily basis, weekly basis. But then again, I don't buy a lot of stuff ahead of time because I know I don't have the possibility to store it. Okay, so now let's talk about storing extra pots that you are not using at the moment. So obviously now that I have this storage box, I could totally fit a whole bunch of pots in there, but there are 2 other pot storing solutions that I absolutely love. So let me show you the first one. I'm not discovering anything new in here, but you can totally just, stack your pots one inside another from the largest to the smallest, and then you have this little pot tower that you can just place in the corner, and you have a whole bunch of pots stored in one space. But there is a better method that I absolutely love. Let me show you. So when you're balcony gardening, you are working with a flat surface. So if you want your balcony to look more like a garden and not like a balcony, it's a good idea to add a bit more height and a bit more dimension. And you can do it by using those empty containers, empty pots as plant stands. It's a really simple solution that not only puts those empty pots to use, but also that will elevate your plant displays. So you basically overturn your empty container and place that potted plant on top of it, and you can really play with it. Use different sizes, different heights of pots to create different layers in your plant display. So that's my best solution for storing empty pots, by using them as plant stands. Okay, so check this out. This is how this corner would look like if I didn't use any plant supports or any overturned pots. I mean, it doesn't look bad, right? But at the same time, it looks kind of flat. And now with a couple of plant stands and overturned pots. Obviously it doesn't look like much at this time of year because most of these perennials are still dormant, but you see it kind of elevates a little bit that plant display, creating different layers and creating different heights. Okay, and lastly, how I store my fertilizers. I have a whole video about fertilizers, what fertilizers I use, how I use them, and stuff like that. And in that video, I also mentioned that I use the same fertilizers for my balcony garden and for my houseplants. So I store my fertilizers indoors, and these are the only items that I store indoors because it makes more sense for me to keep them indoors since I don't have a water source on my balcony. So whenever I fertilize my balcony garden, I have to bring my watering can under my kitchen tap, and that's where I refill my watering can. So that's where I'm also gonna be using those fertilizers. And then obviously when I fertilize my houseplants, I fertilize them indoors as well. So it makes more sense to keep them indoors. And I dedicated one shelf in my kitchen cabinets for my fertilizers. So this is how I store them. This is what works for me in my situation. Okay, you guys, so this is gonna be it for today's video. Hope that seeing how I store stuff on my balcony helped you a little bit or gave you some ideas on how you can store stuff on your own balcony as well. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see each other in the next video.